Hi everyone, Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Tuesday, it's August the 2nd, so welcome to a new day. I woke up this morning and I just fancied a very simple cup of tea, so I've made a lemon and ginger, and it's really lovely, very soothing, and hope that you've got your cup of tea with you there. Let's sit back and relax, and I'll bring you up to speed on what's going on in the world. And also, I've got a couple of really good feel-good stories for you today, things to intrigue you, so stay tuned. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the women who participated in our little field trip yesterday. I asked you to go out into the world and give someone a compliment, and also maybe accept one yourself. And thanks to everyone who made those lovely comments about 60 and me and me. It was really, really sweet, and I appreciate it very, very much. But I hope that you had a good experience, and continue to share anything that's on your mind during the, as I'm talking about the news today, anything that comes up, just leave it in the comments section below. And let's have a conversation. Let's just, share this time in each morning together. And if you are enjoying these mornings with 60 and me, tell a friend. Just give them the address 60andme.com/mornings. And, join us every day. We're here for you. So what's happening in the world? Well, in Libya, the U.S. has initiated a series of strikes against ISIS in Libya at the request of the UN-backed unity government. It's in this place called Sirte, which is just between Tripoli and Benghazi, and it's an area where the ISIS rebels have really solidified their position in the last year. So these strikes are underway now, and I've talked about this before, that Libya is a very strategic country in North Africa for Europe and the rest of the world. So the U.S. military thinks that there are about 2,000 of these ISIS soldiers there, and so that's underway today in Libya. In China, there was an interesting merger yesterday, and it really struck me just the enormity of the country in China, how big it is, when I read that the company called Uber, which is a ride-sharing service, actually sold its China rights to a company called Didi. And Didi was the local sort of taxi car sharing service, and they were doing 14 million rides a day. 14 million, and they were, and Uber and Didi were fighting together for dominance, and Uber decided to partner with them, so they've merged. It's a $1.4 million deal, and they're going to stay on the boards of each other's companies, and there's a sharing going on. But Didi is clearly going to be dominating in China, and Uber is going to be expanding in other parts of Europe. But it just gave me this sense of how large that market is in China, and how these deals are just moving along really, really fast. So the other thing to report in the United States is the Zika virus. This is really turning into a little challenge, big challenge in Florida. They've actually issued a warning for pregnant women not to go to a certain neighborhood in Miami. And the UK has actually issued a travel alert for UK travelers to not travel in Miami, or certainly these parts that are affected. 14 people have now been affected by mosquitoes from that part of Miami. So it's a kind of ongoing, but I think it's a very serious situation, especially for pregnant women. In Hong Kong, they are soaked, but they're okay. The Typhoon Nida has just hit them after hitting Philippines, and Hong Kong is a very densely populated city, so the storm really hit them hard. There were all kinds of warnings about flooding and debris from the very high-rise buildings in Hong Kong. But it looks like they've weathered it, and today schools are shut, shops are closed. There's a lot of warnings about just staying home and keeping away from the areas that could be damaging. But there's about 200 islands in that Hong Kong area, so there's a lot of potential damage. And Typhoon Nida is now on to China and mainland China, which is even more densely populated. So let's keep our fingers crossed that everyone's okay. It's just Mother Nature at work, but this is a season for typhoons in that part of the world. So stay safe, everyone, all of our sisters out there in Asia. In Venezuela, I want to report on this because we talked a little bit about the terrible economy and social situation in Venezuela, which is, of course, very close to the United States. And they've been trying to oust their president there, feeling that he's just not doing a good job of helping their economy, terrorism, violence in the streets. And they've now gathered enough signatures to impeach him, to get rid of him. So felt he was mismanaging the economy. This is the way it's reported. Who knows what the real big story is, but another example really that people are taking action these days to to really make their voices heard. So that's in Venezuela. Hope that things work out there very positively. Now, here's an interesting story for you. It's really kind of a theme I'm developing today because I'm fascinated by it myself personally. And that is that Google's holding company, Google Alphabet, has just joined forces with a pharmaceutical company called GlaxoSmithKline. And this partnership is to develop technology around just electronic implants that can be placed in the human body to detect a disease and also to monitor and help with chronic illnesses. And they talk about specifically diabetes and other chronic illnesses so many people in the world are dealing with. So they formed this partnership to try to leverage really biochemistry and biology and technology to see what they can do to help us older people and younger people too really live healthier, longer lives. So it's a big deal. And I've always said this actually, that I think if we can stay ahead of technology as older women, there's a lot of really cool developments that are happening in the next few years. So stay well and take advantage of these inventions and innovation. And here's another connected story to the Google and Glaxo story, which is scientists have been researching for a long time how the body ages. And scientists have just been discovering, and there's an article, I'll put the link to it, which is very exciting, that they've discovered that by using a certain hormone, they can actually slow down the aging process. And, that actually happens naturally in human cells. And, while we've not discovered a way to live forever, their research is certainly pointing towards ways to use hormones and various chemicals to at least modify the growth, the way that cells age. Now, how does this work? Well, I'm going to refer to my notes here a bit because I'm not that, as most of us, not that familiar with how this research is progressing. But basically, there are little structures at the end of our DNA strands. They're called telomeres. And the way they describe it is kind of like, if you look at like a shoelace, there's that little bit at the end of a shoelace that kind of just protects the shoelace. And that's what the analogy is, that these telomeres protect our DNA. Now, the way that this works is that as our cells constantly keep dividing and reinventing themselves, these telomeres keep getting shorter and shorter. And we all know where that ends. That's, that the cells just stop growing. And what they're now working on is how to activate these telomeres with hormones and other chemicals that will basically slow down that process when the cells divide to keep the telomeres strong. And they've even been doing research now to show that not only can they slow it down, but they actually might be able to reverse the damage or reverse the process that wears down our cells. So who knows how this is going to go? Sounds so easy, doesn't it? But it's a very big project that these scientists are working on for years. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel pretty much, that I'm open. I'm open to technology helping me to live a longer and healthier life. And I think this research into telomeres and how the scientists can try to reverse the process of aging, I think it's pretty cool. I think I'd sign up for it if, and this is a big if, I could just maintain some of the perspective and wisdom and insight that I've gained through through life, and maybe that's the impossible blending, but we'll see. Anyway, it's exciting news. I think it's cool. So I want to finish with just one little story here, and this is a lovely feel-good story. I've always wondered why we don't learn some important things at school when we're little. Like how to be a kind person, how to have empathy for others, just how to live in society. And there's a big push, these days on mindfulness and meditation. And the school in the States, it's called, it's the University of Wisconsin actually, put together a plan, like a curriculum, to just try this out with young children and to teach them kindness. Cool idea. And so basically these pre-kindergartners for 12 weeks were given kind of practices, things to do to make them more understanding and kind and empathetic. And as a byproduct, kind of make their grades or their performance better and just make them able to control their emotions and, just see themselves as a community, as part of a group that it mattered to each other. And so they did some cool little things like, and I'd like to see some of this in our world too, but this is maybe for kindergartners a perfect model. They built these little kindness gardens, like a big poster, and what it said was, every time someone's kind to you or you're kind to someone, go and put a sticker in the kindness garden, because that's how friendship works. It grows like seeds. And I just thought that was a sweet analogy. And they also gave the kids peace wands. And these peace wands, one child had a little wand with a heart, and the other one had one with a star. And the one with the heart got to speak, and they got to share. And the one with the star wand got to listen. And then they got to repeat back what the one with the heart said. So hearts and stars, they talked together with these little, just these little peace wands. It just sounds so silly, doesn't it? But in very simplicity, it worked. And they built this model around some principles of, paying attention to each other, being conscious of your body, caring for one another, depending on each other, having empathy, feeling for each other, forgiving one another, and most important, having gratitude. And anyway, they did this for 12 weeks, and it was remarkable in how the children responded, and how they learned these skills of kindness. Anyway, I just thought it was wonderful. And at the end, it said there was a little boy one time who fell on the playground, and as he fell, he scraped his head. And all the kids went running over to him, and they said their little phrase, which they'd learned, which was, "May you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be peaceful." And I thought, oh my goodness, that's really pretty, and not just beautiful, but just deep. And the kids got around this little child, and they said that, and he got up and they held him, and he felt better. Anyway, that's kindness. I just wish we could teach kindness more broadly than that, and be safe, happy, healthy, and peaceful. That's my mantra for us too. Let's keep that in our thoughts today. So that's our news of the day, August the 2nd. And I'd like to remind you, if you are enjoying these mornings with 60andMe, tell a friend. Point them to 60andme.com/mornings, and enjoy this time every day we have. And I have a question for you. This is one that relates back to that story about healthy living. And my question is simply, would you let your doctor insert in your body a miniature electrode that could help him diagnose illness in your body and also help with a chronic illness? I'm just really curious how many people would be willing. So would you let your doctor implant a little sort of electronic device in your body to monitor your health? Leave your comments in the section below. Let's have a conversation, see what you think. And have a wonderful day, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow right here for Mornings with 60andMe. Take care, everyone.